What's up, YouTube? It is your boy Killer Cam will be killing it. Welcome back to the Killer Squad. Today we got Spider-Man 4 news.
Spider-Man No Way Home isn't even out yet, and we are already talking about Spider-Man 4. And that's because the Spider-Universe is just up in the air. There's so many tangibles and intangibles that are going on, and the future of it, it's not only bright, it's very complicated. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Now, I want to say this up front. I don't know anybody at the Giant Freaking Robot. I don't know who their trusted source is. And quite honestly, I'm very, very hesitant to think that anybody would have any dirt on Spider-Man 4. Now, it could be in early planning. I'm sure they've talked about it. I'm sure they've storyboarded it. But to have a scooper leaker source that would actually have definitive information like we're about to go over, I'm gonna put the whole warning out there that this is definitely not confirmed, but it's fun to talk about, and it's fun to theorize about, and that's what we are going to do today. The Giant Freaking Robot put out an article stating, big bombs, that Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn would be introduced in Spider-Man 4.
No way.
Now, we need to backtrack so we can move forward. Spider-Man No Way Home is on its way. We already have news that another Spider-Man trilogy is probably in the works. More than likely featuring Tom Holland, although he's been dropping little Easter eggs that, hey, I don't know if I want to do Spider-Man anymore. I may just want to go be a farmer, or I may want to go have an apartment complex and rent them really cheap. And I definitely don't want to do Spider-Man past the age of 30. I feel like I would have failed, and I think Miles Morales should be brought into the fold. All those things need to factor in to this. And if you want to check out my Miles Morales video, go look at that one, because if you're a fan of Miles, you're going to be happy. It looks like he is going to be entering the MCU sometime in the future. Anyway, so all these things are going on, and maybe it's just Tom Holland's way to position for a bigger paycheck. I mean, that could be it as well. Let's assume he comes back. And I think Amy Pascal said she wouldn't direct a Spider-Man movie unless it was Tom Holland. So let's say Sony, they sealed the deal. They tied up the present with a big, fat money bow. And Tom Holland comes back. I mean, we have the Venom post-credit scene that connects him to Spider-Man in the MCU. We've got Morbius with connections to multiple different timelines. We've got Kraven the Hunter coming. There's a lot down the line. And we haven't even seen the Sinister Six. No, the Sinister Six is not what is happening in No Way Home. They haven't mentioned it once, which tells me Sony's got that in their pocket for another billion-dollar box office movie. So, all this is going on simultaneously, along with Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, all of the villains coming back. It is a good time to be a Spider-Man fan, but what's the future actually hold? Well, there have been rumors that the next Spider-Man trilogy will be a more mature tone, a more darker theme, because Peter won't be a kid anymore. He'll actually be going into college. We have also seen rumors that one of the post-credit scenes could possibly be MJ forgetting who Peter is once Doctor Strange makes everything right at the very end. And at the very end, he runs across Gwen Stacy. Now, that could be the controversial post-credit scene that has been reported on. They said one would make everybody happy, and one would be controversial. What's more controversial than him forgetting MJ and that love interest is gone, just like kicked to the curb, and in comes Gwen Stacy. And if you don't know who Gwen Stacy is, she's the other love interest of Peter Parker. If you've watched the Amazing Spider-Man series, you know all about Andrew and Emma Stone. You do. Even to the point, Gwen Stacy was also introduced in the original Raimi-verse as well. So, let's talk about this. The Giant Freaking Robot says that their trusted source says Spider-Man 4 will introduce not only Gwen Stacy, but also Harry Osborn. Now, Harry Osborn was in both of the Raimi Universe trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movies. He didn't get introduced in the Amazing Spider-Man until the second movie, but he was a huge arc in Tobey Maguire's movies all the way through it. So it makes sense that we would actually see him in some form in the MCU sooner than later. And according to their trusted source, Spider-Man 4 is where it happens. They say they don't know who's going to be cast as Gwen Stacy or Harry Osborn, which again makes me wonder, how would you even come across this information if I don't anyway, whatever. It's fun to talk about. They presume that Gwen and Harry will be from the original Tom Holland MCU timeline, the sacred timeline, the main timeline up until this point, and they won't be coming from one of the other portals or timelines like all the villains and Andrew and Toby are. So they will actually be coming from Tom Holland's timeline, which makes sense.
Okay.
We've already been introduced to MJ and Toby's timeline, and Gwen, and we've obviously been introduced to Gwen in Andrew Garfield's timeline, and Harry Osborn in both. So that wouldn't really make a lot of sense to bring them in. It would make sense to introduce us to the ones in the current timeline of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. How this is going to go, I don't know, but if it does happen this way, it feels like there's gonna be a lot of Spider-Man that has to be covered in the next 6 to 8 years. It truly, truly does. I mean, we are late to the table, late to the party with Harry Osborn for sure when it comes to Tom Holland Spider-Man, and maybe we'll get a glimpse of him or get to know him or get introduced to him in the Spider-Man Freshman Year animated series, which is a prequel to Homecoming. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Way early to be talking about this, but like I said, it's fun. I don't know if it's true or not, but
Right.
it does make sense to a degree. And if the leak I saw a long time ago about Gwen Stacy being part of a post-credit scene is true, and they tease that, maybe that's the controversial one. Maybe that's his...
Alright.
Let me know what you think of my reaction down below. Killer Squad. Peace.